Here we go. Getting ready. 30 seconds time. And then, of course, at T-0, liftoff, fingers crossed, should be occurring with all 27 Merlins underneath each of the 3 cores. Approaching T-20 seconds now. This is when the pressurization starts to kick in for the tanks. As we count down now into the final 10 seconds of the count. Here we go. 10. 5 seconds. There we go. We've got ignition. And liftoff. We have liftoff of the first fully expended Falcon Heavy carrying VIASAT-3 to geostationary orbit. We're clear the tower. Let's listen in for the rumble of those 27 Merlins. You can hear the car alarms in the background going off. We are past 60 seconds into flight now. The rumble of those 27 Merlins continuing as this fully expendable vehicle is heading up into space. Past max Q, the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle will be feeling, or experiencing rather. You can see the vapor now starting to come off of the vehicle, and as it heads up to geostationary orbit.
And we have about 90 more seconds to go here before we have BECO or booster engine cutoff, which will be the moment where these side boosters leave the center core alone and prepare for impacting the ocean.
Falcon Heavy now just becoming a little less easy to hear as it heads down range. You can see the plume expanding quite considerably now because of the lower density in the upper parts of the atmosphere. The flame coming out the bottom of the engine, at the bottom of the vehicle, isn't being pushed in as much. So yeah, you can really see it now start to expand out as it heads up in altitude.
Is that max tracking?
I think it might be. This definitely isn't. This is SpaceX's track, but just really a proper fiery red colour coming out the bottom of Falcon Heavy with a little bit of green in there too. As we're heading up into orbit. BECO up next, coming up shortly. Both of the look at this, absolutely beautiful, absolutely incredible views here. BECO up shortly. The side cores will shut down and then separate from the center core, which itself will continue up into space before dropping off the second stage.
Are we enjoying the color there?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yes.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Fiery red mixed with some light greens as well as BECO is now upon us and the boosters are separating off of the side core.
Yeah, you're going to get quite a show. There's still some golden sunlight right behind me.
Look at this guy.
And
absolutely
there comes
incredible.
BECO.
You can really start to see the jellyfish starting to form there with the sunlight bouncing off the top of shining through the upper atmosphere because it's set on the ground, but because of the increase in altitude, it's yet to set, technically, I guess, at the location which Falcon Heavy currently is. I mean, just look at that. The trail really, really visible there from Falcon Heavy. Just absolutely incredible. The sunset colours shining through the plume of where the vehicle has been, and then the deep, dark blue sky behind it.
Oh, you guys! Whoa! I don't know if video can do that justice, y'all. The full plume is going from a light blue to a pink to an orange to a yellow, and then a shining white.
You can see on the left there that, yeah, the plume, the expansion of, you can see kind of 9 legs coming out the bottom. Those are from each of the engines. Just looks incredible. And it stopped.
And I think, yeah, we now have MECO, main engine cutoff. So the next thing we should see is the startup of the second stage engine, which we can see here, the AMVAC
Whoa,
engine.
look at that. You can see the sun on the horizon. That is beautiful.
Wow. This launch is delivering on visuals.
There you go. I think it might be in close competition with USSF 67, whether it's the most beautiful Falcon Heavy launch later. I guess we'll have to do a poll of that in a few days' time, once we've been able to let the launch sink in. Next up is the fairings. They'll be popping off and being recovered. The only pieces of this launch being recovered, and then that will unveil the 3 payloads, the 6.5-ton VIASAT-3 and its ride shares to the very, very, very thin parts of the atmosphere, at least compared to on the ground, as the second stage reaches over 18,000 kilometers in, not 18,000 kilometers, 18,000 kilometers per hour in velocity, 138 kilometers in altitude. And just look at that. I think, is that bright dot on the top of the screen the second stage? I'm trying to look carefully.
Oh, wow, that looks just beautiful. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, you can see the plume of the 3 center cores still kind of lingering in the sunset there. The sun now obscured behind the Earth with the onboard views from the second stage. And you can see here.
Yeah. And just to point out what's happening right now. Right now, this first burn will bring bring it into a stable orbit, and then the second burn, SES-2, at 29 minutes and 42 seconds, will basically bring the second stage on the trajectory to GTO, and then will fill it to a full geostationary orbit after 4 hours and 4 hours and 22 minutes. Sorry. And then the satellite is planned to be deployed after 4 hours and 32 minutes from now. So really a long mission here that SpaceX has to perform.
Yeah, this is certainly not one for the teams at SpaceX to just, oh, we've launched it, time to go to bed. Definitely not one of them. It's a long endurance time for the teams in mission control and also the satellite customers who are on board. Second stage Merlin 1D vacuum still burning bright because there's no sun to overcompensate the camera. You can see now as the very, very thin blue line of atmosphere still visible. And that will be getting even less visible as the second stage flies around the dark side of the planet. Over 7 minutes into flight now, still coming up on SECO 1, the first cut-off of the second stage. That'll come once it's reached its parking orbit, they call it, so we're in a parking orbit. And then
you can see the orbit slowly forming and expanding. You can really see how it slowly but surely goes longer and longer here. And I bet there are some SpaceX engineers here who are really happy that this thing finally took off. Because this Falcon Heavy really didn't want it to launch.
No, it's been lingering on 39A for a short while now. Not only has the VIASAT payload been a little bit of a delay on the actual launch date, but also the weather not complying in Florida. I'm sure they'll be happy to just get this off the ground.
Yeah, and
8
also
minutes into flight.
With the ambitious timeline for this year and like the ambitious goal that Elon Musk has set previously for about 100 launches, having a rocket on the pad for a week, or even 2, that's kind of like rocking a play view. And there we have SECO 1.
And there we go. That's his favourite view on launch day, an empty launch pad. I was actually looking at the screen this time. You can see the transport erector, the strongback, has retracted to 45 degrees. And 39A is now vacated for the next flight to be rolled out to that pad, integrated, and then launched, because that's the rapid cadence SpaceX is treating us all to nowadays. You can still see some venting coming off there as well. Thanks, Das.
Thanks for the shout out there. Good job.
I feel like at this point we need like an own like banner for it, like Das favorite shot, like a at the bottom a ticker.
Approved.
Yeah.
Nice. Looking forward to have that soon.
You can still see the kind of orangey purpley colours here from Fleet Cam, which is looking a little bit more to the west. Well, it's looking north technically, but it means you can also see to the west. We've been looking to the east for the vast majority of the time until we had the onboards of the second stage. During the launch, we had John gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thanks very much for that, John. If you received one of them, make sure to thank John in chat.